Greetings, everybody. Merry meet and blessed be you out there. So I had a friend post a meme on Facebook, and I thought to myself, you know something, that would make a great video subject. Subject for a great video. So here we are. So the meme talks about how TikTok was recently banned, and then it goes on to talk about, well, how what happens if we switch to digital currency. In other words, the government could turn around and shut off our account at will, or the bank could shut off our account at will. Um, so uh, I just had to kind of like snicker a little bit. Okay. Um, it's a good meme because there's a lot of people who, um, should digital currency be presented and put in place, there's a lot of people who are going to be stressing over that. Okay. So I'm here to clarify a bunch of things and talk about the pros and cons. So I've done some videos on behavioral psychology in regards to experiments the government and even corporations, huge corporations, experiment on their employees with, and that's a form of behavioral psychology of rewards and punishments. They practice this in the penal system. So they experimented with it, and so um, with the digital system, there's rewards and there's punishments. Okay, there's always been rewards and punishments. It's nothing new. It's nothing new. So um, this just gives the government, in their own minds, in their own theory and philosophy, and their addiction to power and control that tweaks their rational thinking, it gives them a sense of security in regards to having this tool they could use as a form of punishment. Okay, so let's get into this. So, should something like that ever happen, people need to educate themselves on history, and they need to come to realize that since our existence here in this new world, in this nation, people didn't have a lot of money. People didn't have a lot of money. Poverty was more widespread than it is today, believe it or not. Um, the average, even though the currency and the cost of living and stuff was very, very different, um, most families didn't have $50 to their name, you know, rather be $50 gold pieces, which would be worth a lot of money now. But back then it was just common currency, you know. Um, so um, a lot of things that were, so to speak, purchased in a way, was all done through bartering, and trading. And so, uh, because there wasn't a widespread of currency, um, there wasn't banks in every tiny little civilization while having stuff when people came out staking ground and building up the West. You know, um, it took a long time. The town had to grow. It had to be worth the banks, you know, money to move out there. Um, so um, people need to understand, that people lived off the land and they provided for themselves and they provided for their community and they bartered, you know. They lived basically a social life, not communist, but a social life style. And then when they expanded and grew and the town became larger and larger and larger, that's when the bankers came in and says, oh, we can make some money here, and we can start controlling these people and making them our slaves, monetary slaves. And that's what happened. So people need to realize that civilization wasn't always dependent on money. And so they were dependent on one another, which drew the community more closer and a lot more respect and investment into everybody's well-being. Um, it would would was fruitile, was fruitful. So there's a lot of these bankers, these corporations, these multi-billion, trillion-dollar corporations, and billionaires and trillionaires and stuff spend a lot of money into advertising and making videos and or producing videos, research, etc. That is totally corrupted and fabricated to misconceive the people, to to basically deceive them into believing that they can't survive without money, which is totally false. Okay, now um, along with technology has been another weapon. They get people hooked on technology, you know, convenience. I remember when I was growing up, I was my mom and dad's TV remote control. I went over there and switched to channels every time they told me to, you know. Now you can just do it with a little controller and a button. Or if you have AI, Alexa or Siri, you can say, hey, turn the TV to this channel, and they'll do it. They're smart TVs and stuff. So, and with the internet and the computers and everything and stuff, it's so much easier and what have you stuff. You don't have to take your film into a store and have it developed and then have to come back later on that day or the following day or whatever, to have photographs, now there's digital photography and you can take a picture on your phone with a digital camera, whatever it may be, upload it, or just shoot it across the internet and share it. It's so convenient. And people get in that comfort zone and it's hard for them to get out of. And, but people who has the knowledge, knows how to grow crops, knows how to harvest those crops, and knows how to hunt and live off the land and stuff. They have a safeguard that will prevent them from ever starving, ever. You know what I mean? During their existence. Wherein people like within the city, or born and raised in the city, and they rely on stores for their bread. Excuse me. They rely on stores for just about everything. They're dependent on this monetary system, and they're the ones who are going to be really. They're the ones that are going to stress out the most over such a transaction, should it ever happen, of a digital currency or the grid's shutting down, to where you can't sell or buy anything, and money's pretty much worthless, you know. Um, Even gold and silver's worthless. If I had a nice fruitful garden out there and what having stuff, and somebody came up and offered me gold coins, some gold and silver for some food, I would just laugh in their face. I'd ask them if they have a water filter. I'll trade them, 2, 3, 4 pounds for a water filter, of tomatoes or zucchinis or corn or assorted fruits and vegetables or whatever it may be, you know, because that's going to help sustain me. Money's worthless. It's worthless. If you can't buy anything with it, then what worth is it? So and a lot of people's philosophy is, well, if the economy ever picks back up again and gets rolling again, then you're going to have a grip load of money. Well, if the grid ever shut down for any such purpose and what have you stuff, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take years. Matter of fact, it could take decades to actually get back to normal, which it probably never would, because by that time people would be so self-sufficient, because those who have not learned how to grow their own crops and harvest their own crops, hunt and fish and stuff like that, will have learned, if they're still alive and haven't starved to death or got shot looting or whatever it may be, they will have learned and they will adjust to that type of lifestyle. And they've went so long without their electronics, without their uh, smartphones and etc., that they've just become conditioned to live without them, just like they've been conditioned to feeling like they can't live without them. So now what's going to happen is, should that ever happen, people have to realize that the people on top who are pushing this button, this cutoff button, should it be, to people's money and stuff like that, digital money, they're only shooting themselves in the foot, because I can prove to you that shit runs uphill, because it's like a pyramid. This whole economy, this whole social collective way of living has all been built on this pyramid type of feudalism. So the first thing you have with a building or any type of structure is the footing. The footing is crucial to the life of the building. The footing is the first piece that is laid down, that the foundation actually fits on top of. And without the footing, the foundation is just going to crack and the building's going to eventually just crumble. The footing is critically important. And the people is the footing. The foundation is the working class, and the structure is the corporate elite and the legal system, etc., etc., etc. So if they were to turn around and do that, say for an example, with a tyranny, dictatorship and stuff like that becomes so overwhelmingly abusive that people just said, hey, you know something, we're done with you. This is BS. So they're going to go out and they're going to, engage in civil unrest, burning up stuff and blowing stuff up or breaking stuff. And, unaliving a lot of people and everything and stuff, whatever it may be, that they believe is part of this hardship that they're going through. And the government says, okay, martial law, boom, nationwide. Okay, boom, they shut everything down, thinking that they're going to be punishing people because they can't just go to the store. They just can't go, to the gas station and grab a drink and gas up their car. They can't, you know. And so there's going to be barricades everywhere, So anyway, the people actually now they have to provide them with food. So there's going to be pantries, food pantries, will have you stuff set up by the government and everything and stuff. So that's basically like the worst scenario. That's the worst scenario, you know. Um, uh, it's not in their best interest just to shut off your money flow because that's their blood too as well. And, they can't make money off a person who's not working. Because if they shut off their money flow, then what's the sense of working? You see what I'm saying? I mean, the logic behind this meme is just totally irrational. And whoever posted this meme is just a fearmonger that's trying to incite fear amongst people that hasn't really given thought to actually what they're presenting. Because this meme is just totally just incorrect and fraudulent. Um, the only time that the government and what kind of stuff would actually shut down um, the ability to go to the bank and withdraw your money or even to make you know deposits is if there was some type of serious organization out there that was trying to hack into the system where all banking systems would shut down their system. You know, that would be the only case, and that's nothing to do with punishment of the people. It's to protect the people and protect themselves through their monetary interests and livelihood of themselves. So there's no validity behind this meme whatsoever. So this would never ever, it would never happen unless it was, the people invoked it themselves with a stand down, you know. So, but anyway, hope I cleared up a lot of misinformation. Thanks.